Welcome, brave souls, to Midnight Whispers. Traverse this realm at your own peril. For within these tales lurk horrors most foul. Tonight's tale may twist the very fabric of your sanity. And a word to the wise, this narrative paints pictures of terror not meant for every eye or ear. Venture ahead if you dare, but remember, you have been warned. One cold October evening, I was alone at home, just like most nights. The wind was making creepy sounds as it blew through the cracks of my old wooden house. I usually enjoy being alone, but that night felt different. The quiet seemed scary. With nothing to do, I decided to clean my old closet. It was full of old clothes, worn-out shoes, and forgotten photos. As I was moving things around, I found a small box filled with old knickknacks from my childhood. As night came, the house got colder, and the silence felt heavy. I wrapped myself in a blanket and tried to read a novel on the couch. But then, I heard a soft tapping sound. It was coming from the closet. It sounded like dancing. I walked towards the closet, the tapping getting louder with each step. It definitely sounded like dancing. But how could that be? I was scared, but curiosity pushed me to reach for the closet door and open it. To my surprise, it was empty. Well, almost empty. The only thing inside was a big mirror that I didn't remember ever putting there. I looked at my reflection. Everything seemed normal. I brushed off the eerie feeling, closed the closet door, and decided to get some sleep. Although sleep didn't come easy that night. The next day, life went on as usual, but strange things began to happen. I would find my belongings misplaced, the taps turned on, and sometimes the TV would switch on by itself. Each time something strange happened, I would hear that soft tapping sound. It was driving me crazy. Days turned into nights, and each night, the tapping sound seemed to get louder and closer. I was losing sleep, and my mind was playing tricks on me. Or at least, that's what I thought. I could swear I saw shadows dancing in the mirror in the closet, but when I blinked, they were gone. One particularly cold evening, as the sun cast long shadows on the floor, I heard the tapping again. It was coming from the closet. I mustered up the courage to open it once more. The room reflected in the mirror seemed different, darker. As I looked closer, I saw him, a figure dancing backward in the reflection. I jumped back in horror, slamming the closet door shut. Decided that maybe surrounding myself with people and noise would drown out the tapping that seemed to follow me. So I went to a nearby mall, bustling with people and activity. The laughter of kids, the chatter of shoppers, and the endless announcements over the loudspeakers were comforting in a strange way. For a moment, I thought I had escaped the eerie dance of my fears. I felt a bit hungry and made my way to a pretzel stand. The girl behind the counter looked to be in her teens. She had a friendly smile as she took my order. As she was preparing my pretzel, I decided to strike up a conversation. You know, it's strange, but for the past few nights, I've been hearing this weird tapping sound in my house. It sounds like someone is dancing, I told her, trying to laugh off the fear that crept into my voice. She looked at me with puzzled eyes, but then smiled, probably thinking I was joking. Maybe you have a ghost who likes to dance, she chuckled, handing me my order. No, seriously, I insisted. It's like every time I open my closet, I expect to see someone dancing in there, but all I find is this old mirror. And the sound just doesn't stop. It's driving me insane. She leaned in closer, her smile fading into a look of concern. "I'm really sorry to hear that. Sounds creepy. But hey, maybe it's just your mind playing tricks on you." I was hoping she would at least pretend to believe me, but instead, she dismissed it just like that. I felt a flicker of annoyance, thanked her for the pretzel, and walked away. The conversation, though short, left me feeling lonelier than before. Feeling dismissed and utterly alone, I decided it was time to seek professional help, or at least spiritual guidance. I had never been religious, but at that point, I was ready to try anything. So, I went to the local church the next morning and asked to speak with the priest. He was a kind, older man with a gentle smile and eyes that seemed to understand more than I could tell. I narrated my ordeal, from the tapping to the dancing figure in the mirror. I was desperate for help, for someone to tell me I wasn't losing my mind. The priest listened attentively, his face turning grave as I described the dancing figure. After a long pause, he sighed and said, "I wish I could help, my child, but this seems beyond my capabilities. However, I might know of people who can assist." With a sense of desperation gnawing at my insides, I clutched the card he handed me. It was simple, with nothing but a white flame embossed in the center and a phone number below it. No name, no address, just the symbol and the number. It felt cryptic, yet it was the only lead I had. I thanked the priest, who offered a reassuring smile, and hurriedly left the church. The day seemed to drag on as I fought the urge to call the number right away. I wanted to be far away from the closet, the mirror, and the haunting rhythm that seemed to play in the background of my reality. Once home, I mustered up the courage to dial the number on the card. The phone rang endlessly before diverting to a voicemail. A monotone voice spoke. "Due to high call volume, we are unable to take your call at the moment. Please leave your message, and an agent will get back to you." The beep that followed seemed to echo the emptiness I felt. I left a detailed message, explaining the terror that had become my life, the strange dancing figure, and the incessant tapping that followed me everywhere. I pleaded for help, for someone to call me back as soon as possible. As the hours crawled by, the tapping rhythm grew louder, almost beckoning me towards the closet. But I resisted. The darkness outside seemed to seep into my home, making every shadow look menacing. I tried to distract myself with TV, but the dance from the closet played louder than the show's dialogue. Night descended upon my home like a shroud. The tapping now sounded like it was coming from just behind the closet door, louder and more insistent. I was on the edge of sanity, the rhythm clawing at my mind. I decided to lie down, hoping to catch a few hours of sleep before the agent arrived in the morning. But as soon as I closed my eyes, the dance invaded my dreams. Or perhaps it was reality seeping into my consciousness. I saw myself standing in front of the closet, the figure in the mirror beckoning me to join the dance. It was a sinister waltz of shadows and fears. As the rhythm engulfed every corner of my mind, a strange calmness descended upon me. I finally turned around and saw him, the backwards man. His eerie smile sent chills down my spine, but his eyes held a melancholy that somehow resonated with the emptiness in me. "I've been looking for a backwards lady to join my dance," he said, his voice a haunting melody. "Will you dance with me into the abyss?" Before I could answer, I felt a pull and found myself spinning into a dance. My steps matched his, backward, yet perfectly in sync. As we danced, the world around seemed to fade, and I could see through the mirror. Two men, dressed in suits, stood in front of my closet, their expressions grim. The scene shifted, and now I was an observer, no longer a participant in the eerie dance that unfolded.
Report. Case hash 189. Agent R. Thompson. Date: November 10th, 2020. Summary. Upon arrival at 0900 hours, I, along with Agent J. Mitchell, discovered the residence in unusual silence. The initial inspection revealed a closet door slightly ajar with a large mirror inside. The room held an eerie chill, with the atmosphere vibrating to a rhythm only discernible to our tuned senses. A thorough search led to the discovery of a journal and camera footage. The video footage displayed the subject slowly dancing into the closet but never exiting. The dance was peculiar, with every step taken backward. The last entry in the journal described a haunting figure known as the Backwards Man and an invitation to a sinister dance. No trace of the subject was found on the premises, leading to the conclusion that she might have been taken into the unseen realm. The mirror exhibited a high level of paranormal activity but ceased upon removal from the premises. Attached is the full transcript of the journal and video footage for archival and analysis purposes. Recommendation: further investigation into the phenomenon known as the Backwards Man and similar occurrences in the region. Secure and analyze all materials collected from the site for potential leads on combating or containing such entities. Case status: closed.
And so, another tale from the depths of night concludes. But remember, dear listeners, in the realm of midnight whispers, the echoes of our stories never truly fade. If tonight's tale left you hungering for more, explore our anthology of horrors. For those brave enough, delve into our previous stories and discover what lurks in the shadows. Before you venture back into the safety of daylight, remember to like this video if it sends shivers down your spine. Subscribe and ring the bell, so the whispers of the midnight hour always find their way to you. And should you dare, leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. We revel in knowing which parts of our tales resonate with your darkest curiosities. Until next time, keep listening to the whispers, for they have many